Kia ora, and welcome to Mount Smart Madness, the podcast where we dive into the stories, the drama, and the unforgettable moments that shaped not only rugby league, but the New Zealand Warriors history. Today we're going back to March 10th, 1995, where it all began. A night of hope, chaos, pride, controversy, and a game that signalled the birth of New Zealand's very own club in the Australian Rugby League, the Auckland Warriors, as they were then known, facing none other than the powerhouse Brisbane Broncos. It was a debut that was wild, messy, iconic, and, depending on who you ask, unbelievably unlucky. So sit back, relax, and let's relive the Warriors' first ever game. To understand the magnitude of that night, we've got to picture where rugby league was in the early 90s. Australia had the big stage. New Zealand had the passion, the players, but not the platform. Kiwis have always produced outstanding talent, the likes of Ruben Wiki, Matthew Ridge, the Ero brothers, the list goes on, but many had to cross the Tasman to play professionally. By 1995, league in New Zealand was bursting at the seams. The sport needed a flagship club, and that's where the Auckland Warriors came in. Huge hype, huge expectations, huge fan base. And not just in Auckland. The team was sold as New Zealand's team. The logo, the colours, the culture, everything felt new, bold and undeniably Kiwi. The Warriors were placed into the Australian Rugby League competition. Yes, this was before the NRL existed. And their very first assignment was a brutal one. Face the Brisbane Broncos. A two-time premiership winning giant featuring some pretty awesome names. Alan Langer, Steve Renouf, Gordon Tallis, Kevy Walters, Wendell Saylor, all amazing Broncos players. This wasn't a welcome to the competition, it was a baptism by fire. So let's go to game day at Ericsson Stadium, now known as Mount Smart. The crowd, a sellout, over 30,000 fans. And that crowd wasn't just big, it was volcanic. The flags waving, the drums pounding, the old Warriors, Warriors chant echoing around the stadium. Many fans will say it was the loudest home crowd in club history. The Warriors ran out wearing their iconic blue, green, red and white jersey, still one of the most loved in New Zealand sport. The Broncos, calm and collected, jogged out to a wall of noise that must have felt like they were running into a storm. And right from the kick-off, something became clear. The Warriors weren't scared. Their forwards hammered the line, their backs shifted the ball with speed and flair rarely seen in a debut team. And within just minutes, the stadium exploded. The Warriors scoring their first ever try. A sweeping play, crisp hands, and a finish that will forever be part of club folklore. John Kirwan, yes, the All Blacks legend, almost got the first one, but it was Phil Blake, the crafty utility, who officially wrote his name into the history books. The Warriors led early, and the place absolutely erupted. But the Broncos didn't panic. They were the benchmark of rugby league professionalism. Led by Alan Langer, cool, patient, calculating. They absorbed the early onslaught and slowly worked their way back. Then came the moment many fans still argue about. The Warriors appeared to score again, but the referee disallowed it. Replays later showed it was, let's say, debatable. Momentum shifted. Brisbane struck with precision. Steve Renouf made his classic line breaks. Langer schemed. The Broncos machine clicked into gear. And at half-time, Brisbane were ahead 16-10, but the Warriors were clearly in the fight. And the second half opened just like the first, with the Warriors hitting hard. Dean Bell, the inaugural captain and one of the most respected men in rugby league, kept his team composed. His leadership was immense, calm when needed, fierce when required. Then came a moment that nearly flipped the game. Another potential try, and the Warriors looked to be right back on the attack. Ericsson Stadium roared. Another try, except another disallowed try. The referee ruling an obstruction in the lead-up. another call that fans to this day still debate over beers during Warriors games. And Brisbane, ever clinical, punished the second opportunity. A slick backline play sent another Broncos player over the line, and suddenly the Broncos had breathing room. But the Warriors, they didn't fold. They kept coming, running hard lines, throwing courageous passes, defending with pure Kiwi grit. With minutes to go, they scored a late try to narrow the gap and send the crowd back into full voice. Final score, Brisbane 25, Auckland 22, a 3-point loss, but it felt like so much more. When the final whistle blew, fans weren't just thinking about the excitement, they were thinking about those refereeing decisions. And a 3-point defeat, that stung. Even players from the game say it felt harsh. A brand new team, a huge defeat, in the middle of a massive politics, getting penalised for a clerical error. Was it the difference? Maybe, maybe not. But it's one of those moments that shaped the early mythology of the Warriors, moments where luck just didn't seem to fall their way. But despite the loss, something magical happened that night. The Warriors didn't win the game, but they won our hearts. They earned respect. They proved they belonged. They showed they could go toe-to-toe with the very best. Players from that match often say the atmosphere was unlike anything they experienced before or after. It wasn't just a sporting event, it was a cultural moment, a coming-of-age story for League in New Zealand. And for fans, the night remains a symbol of what the Warriors were always meant to be: unpredictable, exciting, capable of brilliance, capable of heartbreak, capable of going toe-to-toe with the Giants. And that's the story of the Warriors' very first game in 1995. A night of passion, controversy, near miracles, and the birth of a club that would capture the heart of a nation. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the greatest moments in rugby league history. And just remember, this year is our year, and we're loyal to the bitter end.